Now to the continuing political battle over broadband. The former monopoly Telstra is close to a deal with the Gillard government to roll its phone network into the new National Broadband Network. The deal could be worth $11 billion. Progress is good news for the government too. It's already under pressure to keep the cost of the NBN under control and avoid any moves by unhappy Telstra shareholders to circumvent the deal. Greg Hoy reports.
Billed as the telecommunications superhighway of the future, Australia's $36 billion fibre optic National Broadband Network is already slowly being rolled out around the country. And today, Telstra and the government announced an $11 billion deal to acquire Telstra's fixed line phone monopoly for the new network is close to completion.
Today's announcement represents a big step towards bringing affordable, high-speed broadband to every home, school, hospital and business.
But critics still abound, emboldened by this report of the Economist Intelligence Unit suggesting the cost of Australia's broadband plan far exceeded the network costs of many other developed nations and is slower than countries such as South Korea.
But one may just as well strike a comparison between the expenditure from the US government and what's happening here. What we are doing here is extraordinary. It is reckless. It has no precedent anywhere else in the world.
It starts off with a completely factually incorrect assertion, and then it goes on to add its own dogma, an ideological dogma, which essentially says that 20% of the ranking is based on zero public funding is good, all private investment is the way to go, and you get top marks.
It's a debate reverberating around corporate Australia, where the great divide between optimists and pessimists on the NBN remains as pronounced as it is politically.
It is such an expensive solution that it won't provide cheap and affordable broadband for anybody. In fact, on the indicated prices to date, the input costs to Optus, iiNet and the other competitors to Telstra would be more than double what they are currently paying.
Not at all. I mean, we've done a lot of modelling on this. We've been involved in this process for many years now. We're of the view that the wholesale prices the NBN will be looking to offer at a 7% type rate of return will be at about the same, if not less, than today's retail pricing.
And some of broadband's biggest customers, represented by the Australian Telecommunications Users Group, agree.
There is no appetite whatsoever for price increases for broadband services in Australia. The OECD investigation on this is quite clear. Australians already pay amongst the world's highest prices for broadband. So I would be extremely surprised within the envelope of prices that end users are currently paying for broadband that NBN couldn't offer wholesale prices at levels which enable retail service providers to offer packages to consumers at prices that work.
Both government and, more recently, the opposition are now in agreement that Telstra should be structurally split to end its wholesale retail advantage over retail rivals. Though it must be remembered, any deal with Telstra over sale of its wholesale monopoly to the NBN must be approved in a vote by Telstra shareholders, planned for July 1st. But there's strong disagreement on whether shareholders should be limited to considering only one offer on the sale of their wholesale interests. Telco analysts like BBY's Mark McDonnell believe there's another option emerging that could yet threaten the NBN.
Structural separation has now been decoupled from the NBN. So if shareholders vote against a deal with the NBN Co, but still support structural separation, consistent with the laws passed by Parliament last year, but using a different means to achieve it, then the future of the NBN Co, I would say, is in grave doubt.
It's an idea supported by the federal opposition.
You would ensure that the customer access network assets were in a separate company and then issue the shares, distribute the shares in that separate company, that customer access network company, to the shareholders of Telstra. So then every shareholder in Telstra would have a share in the Telstra retail business and a share in the what is now the customer access network company. Now, so on day one, the shareholders would be the same, but before too long, shareholdings would change.
But at his half-yearly results presentation today, Telstra CEO David Thodey put paid to the prospect of Telstra shareholders being given any choice but to sell or not to sell to the NBN.
And that will be the current proposal that we have worked with the government and NBN Co and the ACCC at that time. That's all I can take to shareholders, because while I may understand the policies of the opposition party, they're not in place. And so it would be very hard to give anything of certainty.
It was a day for sorting fact from fiction, like the strong speculation that Telstra's main rival Optus, now 100% owned by Singapore Telecommunications, would soon sell a large part of its business to Australian investors, given the value added by Telstra's forced structural separation.
To be clear, Singtel hasn't got a stated intention to sell down its ownership of Optus. There's been speculation along those lines, and clearly that's understandable. Optus has been a very successful business.
So for now, the focus will remain on Telstra and its shareholders.
Should the Telstra deal fall over, though, really the whole business plan of the NBN Co would be in tatters.
There's many opportunities for this project to go off the rails, but at the moment, on the basis of the progress we've seen and the people we've seen and the policies we've seen and the plans we've seen, we're optimistic about Australia's National Broadband Network.
I don't know anyone in the industry that thinks it will ever be built.
It's already being built. This is a network that has already started to be rolled out. And what today's announcement does is facilitate a cheaper and faster rollout for the National Broadband Network.
But rest assured, it will be an anxious 4-month wait for the Telstra vote that may largely decide the fate of Australia's broadband future.
Greg Hoy with that report.